welcome to another episode of On Time with Naledi, where I'm your host, Naledi Mohodiri, and on this channel, you will nourish. This channel focuses on your overall wellness of the mind, the body, the soul, while also dwelling into topics that relate to God. So if you are new on this channel, we give you a warm welcome. And to our members that have already subscribed, we also welcome you on to today's episode. So for today, we are going to be talking about celebrating yourself. And the question posed is, are you celebrating yourself enough? And with today, we are also going to be talking about how we can practice gratefulness when it comes to us celebrating ourselves. Now, a lot of the times when we are having to show up for events in our lives, we are often required to do what is expected of us with the duties that are bestowed upon our lives, whether it be going to school, going to work, or even just being at home. There's always something that requires you to wake up, show up, and show out as best as you can. Now, a lot of the times, we can get so wrapped up in wanting to be constant in doing that we often forget to celebrate ourselves, which is us depriving ourselves of recognizing the fact that there is progress happening within our lives. And a lot of the times that can be something that we often quickly miss, especially if you are at a phase in which you feel like life is moving at a pace in which it is very stagnant, where you feel like you are doing what is expected of you, you are showing up where it needs to be, but then there's still a side of you that feels like, am I progressing? Am I moving with the times? Am I doing what is expected of me? Am I walking in the right path? But a lot of the times you just need to take the time to celebrate the fact that yes, you are in the moment that you are in, but the fact that you are still able to find something that is giving you a source of hope, a source of light, that is the one thing that is going to fuel you to remember to celebrate that you being able to see another day in today's life is something that is not to be overlooked. How can you become intentional in celebrating yourself? With celebrating yourself, it's very important that you take time to reflect. Take time to go back to the goals that you had set and look how many of the goals that you have set have you been able to achieve to date. Now, a lot of the times we always talk about setting goals and working on yourself to become a better version of yourself. And this is a point where you then go back to those very goals where you actually track that out of the things that you may have prayed your way out of, how many of those things have you been able to overcome? And by that, I mean if it's either your habits, your behaviors, whether it can be things such as communication, socializing, upon many other things that you may just want to develop over your life. How many of those things have you found that you've actually improved on or you have completely overcome? And by doing things like that, you are able to go back to tracking the fact that you are progressing in life. And with progressing in life, it also gives you a sense of hope in seeing that not only is there something to look forward to in terms of becoming that better version that you're constantly working to become, but you also look at life in a different light in which you are a lot more hopeful in what tomorrow brings. And when you celebrate yourself, it brings a high sense of confidence, and with that confidence, it's something that you cannot always find from the next person, or it's not something that a person can just come and point it out to you. And if you are somebody who has people in their lives who are able to come back and actually give you a round of applause on some of the things that they've noticed that you are working on, it's great. But if you don't have that, that is why it's important to always journal so that you can keep track with the progress that you are making. And now when you do that, you go back to seeing the progress, yes, but then you are also able to see what else you still need to work on. Becoming self aware in the moment is another way in which you can become more intentional with celebrating yourself. Now, one thing we know is that as we are constantly working on ourselves and becoming more self aware, it's important that those very habits that we prayed away are things that we help to take note that we are working our way towards changing. Because one thing that the mind can do is that it takes note of your insecurities and the things that you still want to work on. And if you don't go back to the checkbook to realize and to reconnect with the fact that you are now taking part of the new you and you are ridding yourself off of the old you, the mind will constantly remind you of a habit that you used to have that you worked your way out of. So now journaling this and actually writing this down helps in terms of not only holding yourself accountable, but it helps to discern the fact that you are progressing in this journey. It also helps to direct where you are heading to next, so that you don't end up focusing on the things that are derailing you from where you are going. Because if you were praying away one thing, how much more can you keep on praying on the same prayer if what you are praying for has been granted? And when you become more intentional in celebrating these type of things, they are going to help to point out the factors in life where God has been able to show himself in your life, to show you that he's with you, to show you that he has answered your prayers, and to also actively show you that he is in the room, he is present with you, he is within every single step that you take within your life. How does celebrating yourself go hand in hand with being grateful? Now, earlier I spoke about how we can become so wrapped up in wanting to show up as our best versions of ourselves that a lot of the times we lose focus on the fact that every day we hold the power to become a better version of us. And by saying that, it means that who you were yesterday, you have the power to become a better version of yourself if you choose to fixate yourself on the positives. Now, with being grateful with life, it all goes back to life being about perspective. And when we talk about life being about perspective, we mean in a sense that you go back to taking time in appreciating the moments that come with life that we need to savor, understanding that moments in life that we are having in the present can never be revisited again. Instead, they just become memories. Understanding that you have somewhere you need to go, understanding that your current position is not where you're going to end, understanding that there is tomorrow that is waiting for you. But how you show up for yourself right now is going to determine the end result of where you want to be. And taking accountability of the fact that you actually help maneuver and manipulate how you can end up becoming a better version of you is something that you should not shy away from understanding. Because if you are on this journey of wanting to grow, develop yourself, finding a point in which you are able to be grateful and being intentional in prayer in terms of being able to acknowledge what God has done for you in your life is essential. Because not only does it help you to know that you're not alone, but it also helps you to know that we don't pray to a God that's only with us in tests and tribulations only, but he's also with us in the times when things are actually good and going the way they are supposed to, simply because God takes you back to the moment of realizing that you can be in a moment of living in a time in which something that you prayed over is something that you are currently living in right now. And that can be as small as just having peace in life. It can be as small as being granted another day. It can be as small as looking at the fact that you don't want to always go to God crying about the same thing over your life. If you realize that I also have to take my part, because we can pray about what we want to happen within our lives, but we also have to take part in understanding that we too have a contribution to what the outcome of what we pray for becomes, because we too also have to show up. We have to show up. There's no two way about it. So taking note of such things are things that are going to help you to practice being grateful, focusing your prayer, being intentional, being able to come back and thank God for the fact that He has placed you in a moment in which you can say that, thank you, God, for taking me out of this. Thank you, God, for being with me. Thank you for renewing my life, for giving me a firm standing in who I say I am, and just giving me a new way of seeing life and showing me that who I once was is not who I am today. Thank you for washing away my sins and washing away the past version of myself that I knew that I wanted to rid myself of, because today I'm able to be a better version of me, who's able to show up the way I want to, who is able to show myself and reflect you in the image that is pleasing to you. What ways can you celebrate yourself? So we already spoke about thanking God through prayer for what He has done over your life. Now let's talk about the physical things that you can also do. It can be gestures that fulfill you, that give you a sense of purpose. So if it's something like taking yourself out with family or friends, by all means, go with those people that are going to fuel the positivity in your life, that are going to pour into your cup, so that you too can pour your cup onto those that need it most. That can be taking yourself out as well, on a solo date. Taking yourself out on a solo date is not always the worst idea, simply because those are the times that actually allow for you to reflect with yourself, where you can then do your note taking, your journaling, tracking your progress, and you're also able to go back to understanding and analyzing what else it is that you need to do to develop yourself. Rewarding yourself, because to get to where you were, it took a lot of instilling discipline, first of all, and it also took a lot of you having to take yourself out from a lot of situations that actually brought a lot of comfort, because it was something that was more of a norm. So when we talk about instilling the discipline and rewarding yourself, we are talking about, if you may have been knowing that you have something that has so much power over your life. Let us give an example of social media, for instance. If you know that you're somebody that spends many hours on social media, where you want to develop your relationship with God, what you're going to do is that you're going to then start being intentional in minimizing your screen time, where you are then going to add more time into fueling and building your relationship with God. And when you do that, that is when you are instilling discipline, because you know what you would usually do, but that again is what a habit that that you're actively praying away. So when you shift your mindset into doing this, then you know that a way in which you can reward yourself, instead of going back to spending those many hours on social media, one thing that you can do is maybe go to the movies. There's so much that you can do, that you can expose yourself over. if you know you're somebody that actually enjoyed reading, this would be the time that you can do that. So it's about finding those hobbies, those habits, finding those things that used to make you feel so much joy, so much fulfillment, that you know that maybe a lot of scenarios in life may have taken your time away from those things. But the whole point of you celebrating yourself and rewarding yourself is just to find yourself in a present moment of understanding that yes, I still have goals. Yes, I still have to work on myself, but understanding that okay, I'm here now, and where I was 3 months ago is a lot better than where I am now. Or recognizing that I'm still not where I need to be, but I still can work on myself. Understanding that it's never over until you decide that it's over is just as essential. On some food for thought, don't be quick to judge yourself. When we talk about celebrating yourself, understanding that celebrating the fact that you have another day to live is something that cannot be overlooked, because we understand that every day has its own challenges, where some days are easier than others. So understanding that that is the first celebration of the day is something that you must fixate your eyes over. Understanding that you can still work on yourself today, at this very moment, right now, after this video, is something that you also need to remember. Knowing that you have potential and knowing that you can reach that potential, not sleeping on that potential, is something that you ought to fixate your mind over. Think about it, find ways you can work on it, find ways you can get to that better version of you. And it doesn't have to be something that you start today for tomorrow. It can be something that progresses over time, because change often requires a lot, because getting yourself off of something that you know you are used to is not something that's easy to. Don't procrastinate. Do not waste time on being that better you, because sometimes you can't be your quickest enemy. Pace yourself, but if you find yourself derailing, come back again and show up. Don't give up. Don't give up. If you fall, get back up again and show up like you never fell the last time, because you never know just how far you could be from attaining that goal. You also never know what could lie on the other side, because I also believe that if there's something that you are very passionate about, or there's something that you feel strongly that you know you can achieve, and you are finding that right now it's something that's not looking like it's attainable, but you know that you can achieve it, I know that it's something that you can actively work on. If one way of doing it didn't work, it doesn't mean that it's something that is a complete flop, meaning that it's not going to work at all. No, it just means that you have to find another way to get into the same result. And sometimes that can require having other bodies coming into the whole corporation that you want to build. And that can mean having an external opinion from other people that you know, that you love and trust. But prior to welcoming people into these things, it's important to also ensure that you pray about it first, because once you have prayed, it gives you the confidence to know what to utter. Be mindful of what it is that you actually want for yourself, and also finding ways in which you can do that. Pacing your progress is another. We spoke about that, but be intentional in having those goals written and seeing how you can get there. Be okay with failing. be okay with knowing that you can still be better than what you were yesterday. And to be that better you, it's going to require you to be okay with knowing that the journey of becoming the best version of you is going to require you to fail at times. And that does not always mean that it's going to happen in a public space or in a private space, but it is eventually going to happen. But do not crucify yourself over it, because that is just going to downplay and it's going to delay your future. It's going to delay your progress and where you're heading in life. So be patient with yourself. Thank you so much for watching till the very end. Please don't forget to subscribe, press the like button, and leave a comment below. I really do love hearing from you guys. And that's it from me till next time. Much love. Mwah.